Sorry, I was having a sip of my water there. So yet again for the 17th time this season, Tottenham Hotspur have suffered defeat in the Premier League. 17 defeats in the Premier League this season. That leaves Tottenham in 15th place on 37 points. As I pointed out on Twitter, just as a quick kind of FYI, West Ham have been relegated on 42 points before. There's no guarantee, there's no cast iron guarantee that we surpass that number this season, that number of points. And although it's highly unlikely that we will get relegated this season, fingers crossed, everything crossed, I think that's some essential and important context as to quite how terrible Tottenham Hotspur have been this season. I think it's important to note that because there's still a certain element that are like, well, injuries. He's had to contend with injuries and, Daniel Levy and stuff. This is appalling. It's appalling. It's so maddening now. It's not. Do you know what? I've come out the side of. I've had a few weeks of like, I'm kind of impervious to it now. It's not bothering me so much because we're so bad and I'm so used to seeing Tottenham lose. But I'm coming out the other end of that now where it's actually making me quite ragey. It's kind of it frustrated me in a strange sort of way because I actually thought we were all right against Frankfurt. I keep nearly saying Strasbourg all the time. I have no idea why, but we were all right against Frankfurt the other night, right? And then more and more the point was sort of made, like it's been made by lots of people in a sort of straw man sense on Twitter and stuff, and just people sort of talking to me like mates and stuff when I've been in conversation with them are saying like our standards are so in the mud. They're so in the mud that we're taking a half decent performance against, let's be honest, a second-tier European side. I mean, that's probably a bit unfair. Frankfurt have won the competition a couple of years ago. They got to the semi-finals last year or the year before. They're a good side, but I think I can honestly say, and I will say, oh, so entitled and everything. But I will say this is a side that for most of my life, a Martin Yole side, a Harry Redknapp side, whoever else would have turned over in that sort of a game. And I think we were somewhat unlucky. I think I know Postecoglou was going on about the gods and all this type of stuff before this game in his pre-match presser, right? Oh, the football gods don't want to do as if shut up, mate. Like, stop going on about leaks, stop going on about moles, all this kind of crap that he's just focusing on so that it goes anywhere other than his complete and utter ineptitude now. And I feel emboldened to say that because that's what it is. It's awful. It's depressing to see Tottenham this bad. It's depressing to sit there and see Wolves quite easily slap four goals past us, and for nobody to be that surprised, and for it to not be like a thing anymore. For Spurs to be 15th in the Premier League, to have teams that are below us in the league still who are fighting for their lives anyway, at least making a sort of like, there's a few players there that were at least kind of playing with a bit of pride or whatever. And it's not all on Ange Postecoglou. There's plenty of these players that I'm fed up with. Like Vicario has taken every opportunity that he can this season to have a pop at the fans, to get into one with the away fans, to have a little bit of a mouth about fans and the need for support and all this type of stuff. And I'm going to say it, right? I'm not saying this in a Brexit way, but I'm saying a guy like Vicario, who comes from a footballing culture where ultras show up at players and managers' houses and like make actual pointed death threats at them, right? Is coming and making out like a few people having a bit of a moan in the stand because they've watched the team lose time and time again, is the be all. Is like the arch evil that's going on this season. Again, Vicario, who likes to throw fans under the bus, as he has done a few times this season, right? Putting in a disgusting performance like that today, not concentrating at all for both of those first two goals, flapping his arms at them. It's pathetic. It's just pathetic. It's pathetic. Christian Romero with his big lofty ideals of who he should be playing for. Oh, how beneath him it is to play for Tottenham Hotspur when he's messed up for Argentina. Argentina, who obviously, whatever. They love playing for the national team, don't they? Those Argentinians. So we'll let him off the hook. But still, the big sort of wobbly he threw in the game against Brazil the other day, and then he's gone and done that again today. Like, all very busy being like the big hard man and all this, like piling into challenges, getting himself needlessly booked or sent off at various different times throughout his career, when Spurs actually have been good, when Spurs actually have been able to challenge for something. He's been one of the main reasons that's undermined that time and time again. And now that we're suddenly bad, now he wants nothing to do with it. Now he should be playing for Madrid. It's just ridiculous. Like, it's not all on Ange Postecoglou. It's not. There's, there's plenty of personalities inside this squad that I just find rancid. That, like, there's so little love for so many of the players in this team. Honestly, I feel I'm so glad we've got a few players like Bergvall, Kulusevski, Sarr, who I've still got. He did. It's a little bit annoying, but there's a few players in there I've still got a bit of love for. Jed Spence, another one. There's so many of them, that I would gladly never see in a Tottenham shirt ever again. Just put academy lads in there to the end of the season. Like, I've reached that point with so many players in this team, I could not care less. Like, there's so much that's made about the Spurs fans this season, both by our manager, from our chairman, from our players, right? About the need for the good support from the fans. What, the fans that already pay the highest ticket prices in the country, that fill up that stadium pretty much every single time it's there, right? But it's the fans. It's not any of you. It's just the fans who are entitled. Just the fans. None of those players. None of those players that see us sat in 15th place in the table, that think they can turn out a season like this and think they can sit there and feed through their insidious, despicable worm agents that they should be playing for Real Madrid. It's pathetic. It's so unedifying, and it's just disgusting to watch. And you're supposed to root for them. You're supposed to root for half of these personalities. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. Says a man sat here in his back room ranting into a podcast. Yes, me. I am saying that to you, millionaire footballers who are in the elitist, tiniest percentile of your profession. We can all see it. So many of us can see it, and it's pathetic. It's just disgusting. Like, they are despicable. I don't know. I've wound myself up royally with this one, but like I say, I'm out the other end of, like, the kind of the passive irritants, or the kind of the downbeat acceptance of what this season has become. This is a disgrace. It's a disgrace of a season, right? As much as it's leveled at us that we're entitled, it's also leveled at us that, Tottenham fans have no standards, which is nonsense. It's total nonsense. But still, no, we've got no standards. We'll just accept anything because we didn't care. Because we didn't care about Manchester City beating us in a dead rubber last season, right? That would have handed Arsenal the title. Do you know what I mean? No. We've got no standards. But I think we do. And I think there's enough people now that have watched this season play out who will just see it for the travesty that it is. That this manager should be gone. He should be gone now. Get him gone before Thursday. The last chance of anything decent in this season hangs in this game. And he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve it. He barely got people say, "Oh, he got us there." He barely got us there. Like, the reason why we're here is because the competition is largely filled with crap teams that we are better than. That's the truth of the matter. We limped over the line against a team like RZ Alkmaar. Like, this manager hasn't gotten us anywhere. The sheer virtue of the fact that we're Tottenham Hotspur, Tottenham, I can't even say it anymore. Tottenham Hotspur Football Club is why we are where we are. And this is our first genuine, real challenge in this competition. And this bloke does not deserve it. He shouldn't have it. Give it to Mason. I genuinely don't care. Get him out the door tomorrow, tonight, whenever. I don't want this fella at the club anymore. Half of these players I don't want at the club anymore. And I think I've made that perfectly clear. Like, give it, there's hungry, incredible academy players there. Every single year, year after year after year after year, right? Look at all our academy teams winning something. Time after time, they win something. And every single year they get passed up for some melt that we've bought for £12 million, who doesn't care about Tottenham, doesn't care about playing for the club, who would just as soon leak crap through his agent about how terrible the club is and how he should be playing for Bayern Munich or Real Madrid or Barcelona or whatever. Give it to one of these hungry academy lads. Give it to one of them. Like, look at what Arsenal have done. Look what Arsenal have done down the years, these past few years. Look at some of the lads that are turning out performances for them against Real Madrid, the highest level of football. And we're sitting here still giving time to waste the space players that think they're above us. Done with it, man. I'm done with this whole kind of like, let's make excuses about it. Let's be unemotional about this. Let's not be like silly entitled fans about this. We need to see the bigger picture. We need to understand that, like, there's been injuries this year, and we need to understand that, like, how are they supposed to perform under Daniel Levy, or how are they supposed to perform for Tottenham? Look at Tottenham the past few years. Tottenham have won nothing. It's in Tottenham's DNA. Bollocks! It's in Tottenham's DNA. Tottenham's DNA is that we're one of the most, like, stop making these excuses to them. We're one of the most successful teams the country has ever seen. Like, the only reason why we're not literally in like the top 4 or 5 is because teams like Chelsea have come along and bought a load of glory the last few years. Up until the point Roman Abramovich came in and gave Chelsea what they've got now, Tottenham are one of the most successful teams in this country that's ever produced, and we still are. We still are. But yet we allow this narrative to come in that Tottenham have never won anything and Tottenham don't win anything because that's what our DNA is. Nonsense, that's what our DNA is. Nonsense, total nonsense. The first team in the last century to win the double. The first English team to win a European trophy. The first ever side to win the UEFA Cup, now Europa League. You know, like, that's our DNA. Up until the amount of times, I don't know, man. It's just there's always excuses made for everything. There's always a reason as to why this isn't it, and it generally comes down to the fans. Oh, it's the fans who've done it. It's the fans, and that's what sets the culture, and that's what sets the tone of it all. We know exactly what it is. It's this ownership. It's the way the ownership have treated this club for however long now, right? The fact that they had the complacency to look at the Pochettino years not as something spectacular that needed to be cherished, that was a culmination of, yes, all right, careful planning and careful work from the club at a board level, but also the brilliance of Maurizio Pochettino, the brilliance of many of the players that we had at that time, and just probably an intangible kind of flux in sort of teams around us, big teams, Arsenal on a bit of a dip, Chelsea, and, well, I mean, I say that they won the league in 16-17, didn't they? There was just a whole confluence of factors that saw Tottenham in that Maurizio Pochettino era have something really, really special, a really special platform that could have been grasped onto, that could have been embraced. And if it had been given enough fuel, could have gone further. It could have Could have gone to the stars, I tell you. It could have gone to the stars, kid. But we let it go. We just let it go. We sat and we were complacent. We didn't back it. We thought, oh, this is what will always happen. This is what we are now. We've established this. Now we're going to build this big stadium, and that's what it is. We've reached that. That's our floor now, and it can never go below that. And look at what's happening now. Look what's happened in the wake of Pochettino. Look at the mess. I literally had one of my Arsenal fans message me the other day after they beat Real Madrid, just basically saying it's so mad that you lot were doing this a few years ago, and I looked and I saw Arsenal falling to pieces, and I thought we are going to be the second team now. We're the second team in North London. Tottenham are going to go on from here, and they're going to win stuff, and they're going to be incredible. And he's like, and now it's mad to me that you lot have even managed to fumble that. It was there for you. It was there for you lot to take, and you fumbled it. And now we're back again where we were. And it's true. It's true. And that's why it hurts. It's true. It's rubbed in our faces. It's rubbed in our faces when a club prioritizes winning football matches, not winning big glitzy appearances from Beyonce or Kendrick or whoever to come and play at the stadium. Because that's what it is now. We sacrificed that Pochettino team to build that stadium, which the game-changing stadium, which has changed what game? Which sees us operating exactly the same way we always have. And people can debate the numbers. People can say, but it's come on, man. It's just nonsense. And this is a disgraceful season. This is awful. This is awful. It goes beyond Ange Postecoglou. It does go on beyond Ange Postecoglou, but he should be gone now. He should be gone. We talk about, like, step aside Christian Gross. Your legacy is secured, mate. Like this guy is the guy that people will forever be talking about. He's taken out people. Christian Gross is the proto Ange Postecoglou now. So it's because this is terrible, and he should be gone. He should be gone. The standards are in the mud. The standards are so in the mud, and it's so normalized that we lose games like this. It's so normalized. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. Jask says, get him out, Jack. I mean, I hope you mean Ange Postecoglou there, mate. Demenstre says, I don't think we can get 40 points if you look at the fixtures we have left. Mark Ainsworth says, should be gone before Frankfurt. How he's still here is madness. Jonas Milner said, somebody on the last stream said that Southampton was going to be our last Premiership win of the season. I chuckled at the time, not laughing anymore. Adam Mitchie says, we played better when we had the injuries. Yeah. Young, hungry players, isn't it, mate? I mean, that's it. Tom McCarthy says he has to go now. Absolutely has to. As mad as it is, we still have a chance in a soft Europa League. Much better chance of winning without him. Agreed. The chairman sat through that. No, Freddie Nelson, sorry, says the chairman sat through that and won't pull the trigger at this point. Is it even his fault anymore? Knowing he's out of his depth for 6 months, yet the chairman's done nothing. Jack Law says, Jack, mate, hope you're well. Hello, Jack. I used to talk to Jack years ago on an old message board. Those were the days, mate. What did we do to deserve this geezer as our manager for 2 years? I'm losing the will to live watching this game by game. It's mad. It's mad, man. Like, it's mad. Kevsky 007 says we're in a rotten state of affairs. QWERTY ASDFG says, haven't tuned in for a while, so apologies if you've already answered this. Would you take Poch back if we had the chance? I think you know the answer to that, mate. I think you full well know the answer to that. Juan Hodges, how many end of days performances does Ange get to deliver before he's put out of his misery? That's That's the big question, mate. That's the big question. Matt in Oz says he has to go. Woeful. Ahadar says there's not a team in in a major European league that will persist with a manager who has presided over this many losses. I think I saw. You see who it was? I think it was James Moore who had the actual figure of teams who have let a manager go. Where is it? Bear with me just a second. Okay. So, yeah, James Moore said it's staggering that Postecoglou has overseen a season like this. So many performances like this shambles without being sacked. The only other club in the bottom 8 who haven't sacked their manager are Ipswich. It's completely against type for Spurs and this league. And he says they need, in quotation marks, they need to stop sacking managers every 18 months. Yes, eventually. Yeah, I mean, Wilson T says utter dog dirt. Richard Hanscom says Vicario is all mouth and no trousers. What was he doing at the end with Bergvall? Yeah, I didn't like that at all. Holding on to Bergvall's face. It's that weird kind of like I'm in charge. I'm trying to sort of cheer someone up whilst at the same time being really aggy and like that sort of energy. Keep that away from me, man. I don't like it. Tom Foynes, worst squad in 20 years and worst manager in 40. The sort of form you can't just arrest over a summer. Only takes one promoted team to get their stuff together next season, and we could be in big, big trouble. Ricochet Pig says the team spirit has completely evaporated. Austin Sheen says, I blame the mole. HS says, Jack, go and get the bass guitar. Stephen King, bored of another loss, but on the bright side, I'm having slow roasted lamb for dinner. Oof. What a springtime treat that is. What a springtime treat, Stephen. All the trimmings, please tell me what trimmings are going with that, mate. Lovely jubbly. Somebody here called Charlotte Hussey says next season is ground zero. We've talked about rebuilds before, but this is unsalvageable and should never manage in the Premier League ever again. Does anyone give him a job? Does anyone give him a job after this in the Premier League? I would be interested to know. Would Wolves or Forest or anybody like that give him a job? Don't know. There's all this talk of he's gonna go to Dortmund or whoever and win him something. Is he? Who's going to take him on after this shambles? I guess the thing is the get out of jail free card that he gets is it's Tottenham, it's Spursy, it's all that type of thing. It's all Tottenham's fault. It's nothing to do with the manager, nothing to do with the fella in charge. It's all Tottenham, and so the cycle continues. Jask says the biggest disappointment about Ange is he has done nothing to stop the downfall. No new formation or tactic. Nothing to even try something different. Bin him, bin Romero, bin the bald one. I was saying, and I've said it on here before, but I said it on Twitter that like when I watch this, when I watch the way we play, and this is a product, like I say, of being told by people lots of times at different points this season or last that there's something bigger happening here that we couldn't possibly comprehend. And as much as it gets you back up to think, I don't like the idea of not kind of having the capacity to understand or the knowledge in this field to be able to comprehend what's going on. Sometimes, even if you don't say it out loud, you're sort of thinking in the back of your head, maybe that is true. And so maybe there is some hope here that I just can't see right now. All I've seen since last Christmas time is Tottenham limply knock the ball about. So basically, stat pad, So this whole kind of like Spurs have always got more possession and Spurs have got more completed passes. It's because we have this funny little square where our centre backs or our inverted fullbacks come inside in our side of the pitch, pass the ball into whoever's at the centre of our midfield. What is our centre? Please tell me. Prithee, sir. Prithee, O enlightened one. Telomere Surf. What our established midfield partnership is. Please, after 2 seasons, please tell me. Yes, exactly. We see us knock the ball about into this kind of funny little square where it goes into our centre of midfield, across the midfield, back down again, back across, up, down in this little square, and then they kind of give up and just knock it out to the wings and hope that somebody can cross it in and hope that Brennan Johnson will get on the end of it. That's pretty much what we do. We love to throw back to the sliding doors moment of the Chelsea goal that wasn't. Imagine if that Son goal hadn't been. Imagine if that hadn't been given as an offside. Yeah, nice. We knocked the ball about well then at that point. But what you're telling me that there's no collection of players that are able to do that after a year and a half now. After that point, that we've never come close to looking anywhere like that whatsoever again. No, let's just continue to try and whip the ball into the box over and over and over again. Hit and hope. Sometimes they come off, sometimes they don't. And that's it. That's genuinely about it. There's so few goals. There was that really nice one. Was it Odebear scored one? Was it? Might have even been against stuff. I can't remember now. This season's been such a mire. And it all blurs into one miserable congealed lump. Hello. There was one nice team goal, but other than that, there's so few goals you can hang your hat on this season and say, that was a lovely goal from Spurs. It's always the same muck. It's always that, oh, the ball's whipped across and somebody's got a foot on the end of it. And that's it. It's fine. We can sit there and sort of pat ourselves on the back and say, well, we've got one of the best goal differences in the Premier League this season. Great, cool. But we're 15th. Like, we're not playing good football. Oh, it's hard because when you play a system like Ange Postecoglou's, teams will just sit deep and it's really hard to break them down. Cool, but that's why the fella's paid, and I say this once again, millions of pounds a year to solve that problem. Like, beg your pardon. It's compounded. I had this hay fever's doing me at the moment, and now I've just had some water go down the wrong tube as well. Probably good time to stop me ranting in it. I know. It's just abysmal. It's abysmal. It's awful. There's nothing new to this. There's no spark. There's no invention. We haven't come and we haven't reinvented ourselves at any point. I haven't looked at even the wins we've had this season. I've not looked at and thought, oh, we're really good value for that. Even against Tamworth. A semi-professional side. And it's funny because it's the Tamworth game has given birth to one of those images that a lot of people try and flex with, which is that picture of Ange Postecoglou standing on the sideline, looking moody, looking into the camera. People posting that up when we, limp over the line against a team like Southampton. My gaffer. Imagine doubting this fella. My gaffer. Yeah, my gaffer. You've used an image from your gaffer who masterminded an extra time victory over a team in like the 57th tier of the English footballing system. Like, It's just pathetic. It's like it's a farce. It's 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 a genuine farce. It's farcical. Should I just say the same word again? Farce. It's a farce. Oh dear. Sorry. Hay fever. Matt Place says, worst manager of my lifetime would take Gross over him. Sorry, just it's gone. I'm just trying to find where we've gone to. Um, Nick says 97, 98, always been the worst of my time as a fan, but at least we had a heroic Klinsmann comeback, a squad that we didn't expect much of anyway, and a 14th place finish, which may not even happen this year. Shikari Shock, here's an interesting one, says the players are making simple mistakes because they are constantly under the cosh with this stupid system. This squad of players with a decent coach should be in the European places. I kind of feel that way, mate, as well. You know, like as much as I've sort of ranted about a lot of these players and they do annoy me, it's more the sort of the mentality of them that irritates me. I do think there's actually a decent amount of quality here with the players, but not quite as much as I don't know. I think we could be sitting here going into the Conference League right now, you know? But the thing is, the thing that makes this hard is for so long it's been like we're better than Arsenal. And, we're sort of tussling with Liverpool at the very top. Liverpool have just surpassed us, gone past us, levels and levels and levels. And now I'm suddenly looking up at teams like Newcastle and Villa again now. Teams teams who didn't vaguely bother us for a long time. And now I'm looking at Villa and Newcastle and thinking, we are light years away from them. We're miles away from them now. It's just difficult. Um, Ollie Whitefoot says, our status in the footballing world has plummeted this past year and goes down each week. How do we look to potential players and managers? Laughing stock. We'll be starting from scratch again. Darren says, just joined and didn't watch the game. Not great then. You could say that, mate. Liam McMurray says, 2 training sessions before Frankfurt. Can we get someone in tomorrow or do we just go with Wells and Mason? William Gardner, get him gone. If only for the comedy of sacking another manager days before a big cup game. Oh, this club. Melting face emoji. And he said, Poch said he wants to come back. So let him. He will most likely win the Europa League. I don't know. Maybe. K9 McGowan 1 says, how many times this season have we had a free kick or a goal and the broadcast cuts to the stands, cuts back to the game and the other team is in on goal? Yeah, it does seem to happen, doesn't it? David Alfie Ward. Hello, David Alfie Ward. I'm sure you could cheer us up, mate. Anybody doesn't know David Alfie Ward, Spurs comedian, puts on comedy nights. General good chap. Met him in Amsterdam actually after the Ajax game when we were both in the throes of ecstasy, and he just handed me a cold, crisp Dutch lager out of a big sack that he was carrying around when all the pubs were shut, and that was nice. So hello, David. I remember that. David says, it's all just so sad. I'm starting to feel empty how he's still in the job, God only knows. He should never have been given the Frankfurt game. It was so clear that it was done. Agree, mate. Agree. DW says, Jack, I remember when we had never lost at Wembley and we had won the FA Cup more than any other team. This is it, mate. This is it. We're a great club with a proud history. And that's what we're becoming now. You know, West Bromwich Albion were once a great club with a proud history. Preston North End. Wolverhampton Wanderers, ironically enough. Ken McGunn says, I also lost it when it cut to Ange on the sideline doing doing the horseshoe hand signal. Pass it out wide, back wide, cross in. Yeah. And I mean, I'll tell you what else really wound me up. When we conceded the second goal, and you've got Ange there mouthing off, shouting on the touchline. Like, what? Like you're in any place to be having a go at anyone else. I suppose it is sort of his job, isn't it? I'd be complaining if he wasn't doing anything. Too Darn Soulful says, we still have fans saying they blame the players mostly with a little bit on Ange. And then a kind of tilted, laughing, crying eyes emoji face. So the manager does not take any responsibility anymore. Nothing to do with Ange, Gov. Yeah. Nick from Venn says, who will Ange blame this week? Yep. Sam Statham says, part-time LFC fan, full-time Schadenfreude addict, rubbernecking here. Is that 4-1 at Wembley in 2017 much of a milestone for you lot in terms of trajectory since? Possibly, mate. I think it's bigger one for Liverpool, really, if I'm being brutally honest. The die was already a bit cast for Spurs by that point, in that, you know, I think we needed to add quite a few players before that point. We'd lost Carl Walker by that point. The start of the rot, really. When you consider, because we still had a good season that year, but when you consider the sort of the levels and just the energy and the electricity that was around the place the years prior to that, I think we all kind of felt like, ooh, you know, there's a bit of a wobble going on here. But we still had some brilliant moments and we still always finished in the top four. So that's the thing. Even when we were kind of not at our peak at that point, we were still a really good side. And like the point that people keep making is the year we played in the Champions League final against you, less said of that, the better. Everybody sort of talks about or laments what an awful domestic season we had under Pochettino. We finished fourth that year as well. So, you know, Biomco says he's incapable of changing. Chris Jones says, get your GP to prescribe fexofenadine. Absolute game changer, hay fever wise. It will get your sinuses more open than Spurs' midfield. Yeah, I'm juggling at the moment. Aleve, which somebody told me in one of the last streams to try. So he said it's better than Piriton. And Baconaise, which isn't a condiment. That stuff that you squirt in your nostrils, a type of steroid. I think it's because I moved house. It's partly it's getting older and it's moving house. So I'm having to get used to, I think, guessing, probably new pollen. I've bought some local honey, all that type of thing. Do you know what I mean? I bought some local honey and that will sort me out, get me used to the pollen. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he wants to hear this. Alan Leslie, hello, mate, says, just when I thought the bar was set so low they couldn't fall below it, they only went and did that pathetic, shambolic performance. Terry White says, let's blame the kit guy. And then Alan says, again, sack him tonight, bring the mole in till the end of the season. Ollie Whitefoot says, regardless of who the manager is next season, do we all need to adjust our expectations? What should they realistically be? I mean, it's an interesting one, Ollie, because there's that part of me now where on here I've sort of been saying I quite fancy Thomas Frank now. And And as much as I've turned my nose up at him in the past, because I've sort of thought, oh, I don't really know if he'll be blah blah blah. The thing that I like about Thomas Frank is what? I just want Tottenham to look like a semi competent, capable football team again. Do you know what I mean? I just want us to look like we're at least coached, that there's at least some sort of variation in approach to games from us, right? That there's a certain flexibility to what we're doing, right? That we don't need to be reactive to every single game, but at the same time, we can manage a game state. We can manage the way we approach a game dependent on how that other team is playing and what they've been doing. Like we've actually been, properly learning from the other team as opposed to just it's who we are. This is what we do time and time and time and time again. And what we are is trying to spam crosses into the box. So in terms of what our expectations should be, I mean, look, I'm not here to tell anybody what their expectations should be. But there is that sort of part of me now that's like, well, top four is something that again is in the distance for us. That now we're looking at, let's finish in the European places next year. Let's at least, so that's top eight, is it? So at least finish in the top eight next year. And let's at least look like we have some semblance of being a functioning football team again. Because I think, look, people will say, and this is one thing, this is where I think it's different. As in, I'm saying, like, if I'm using the same analogy I used previously for anybody who didn't see it before. If the planet is the problem, and that's Daniel Levy, the manager is the moon around that affects the tide on that planet still, right? So if anybody that says nothing changes while Levy's still in charge, I don't agree. Like, I think this team and this club can put on a better showing than it has done this season. Where things don't change with Levy still in charge, and this is where I will say things don't change with Levy in charge, is if we get back into the reckoning as one of those top clubs again. If we manage to, if we bring in, if Frank becomes our manager, right, and he masterminds us a race up the table next year, we finish fifth or sixth, right? Finish fifth or sixth, we sneak into the Champions League, or we're knocking on the door of it again, right? And we're looking at it and we're like, Bergval's had a great season. He's really established himself. Solanke's scoring a few goals. There's a few players around him that are doing really well. But now what we need to do really to solidify our place here and to maybe even, dare I say, take the step up from that place is to add some real quality, is to do what Arsenal did. £100 million on a player like Declan Rice. Somebody who you can drop into the side and know is instantly going to take the team up a level. That's what we won't do under Levy. That's where we won't change under Levy. What Levy will have us do is if we brought in a Thomas Frank and Thomas Frank had us climb up, if we had a drastically different season next season and we did finish in the top five next year, if we finish sixth or fifth next year, Levy's approach, and I think we've learnt this enough now, watching Spurs enough down the years, Levy's approach and Levy's response to that is, my work here is done. My work here is done. Look, it's fine. It's fine. I told you we didn't need to spend £100 million on superstar footballers. Look, we're back at the top end of the table. The optimism's back. The season tickets are being sold out again. The stadium's full up. The sponsors are flooding back in. Everybody's excited about the club again. Everybody's excited about the direction of travel. It's great. And we can just maintain that. That's that dance that we continue to do under Daniel Levy. But in terms of like, does it get better than this season with Daniel Levy in charge? Yes, of course it can. Of course it can. Because a better manager will do a better job than this. But unless some freakish kind of turn of events happens, do Spurs win the Premier League? Do Spurs win the Champions League? Like, do we make a meaningful change to see that happen? No, not while Daniel Levy's in charge. And that's what doesn't change with this ownership, in my opinion. Unless we fluke it. Unless things open themselves up very nicely for us and we somehow manage to do it. But we won't meaningfully go out, set our stall out to win the Premier League or something ever. We won't ever do that under Daniel Levy. Never. That's the very sort of careful distinction for me. Things can get better than it have been this season under Daniel Levy, but will things get better ever than they were under Maurizio Pochettino? No, I don't think they will. I don't. I'd like. I'd be staggered. I'd be staggered if we ever got back to even that level under Daniel Levy. I honestly, I would be staggered. Now we've got like Villa dropping the sort of money they have. Got Newcastle getting more solid by the year. Clubs like Forest now dropping a lot of money. Bournemouth spending a lot of money. Brighton continue to spend money and look like a solid, functioning outfit. Like there's a lot of teams there's a lot of competition in the Premier League this year. To think that Spurs, just because we've got this nice big stadium and because we used to do it under Pochettino, will be like one of these perennial top four teams. No, I don't think we will. Because to do that now, like it's I think the grass has grown around us. This is the sort of point I think I was making in one of the Patreon pods the other day. Patreon.com/RTR pod. Is that the grass has grown around us. Sometimes you can be so set in your ways or just be on your own path that you neglect to look around you and see that everybody else is making their own moves. And that's where Spurs have found themselves the past few years. We've been so head down doing our own thing, and now that's gone by the wayside. We're now looking around and we're like, oh, Villa are well good. Oh, Newcastle are good. Oh, Forest are suddenly good. Oh, Brighton are good and get stronger every year. Arsenal are incredible again. Liverpool are going to, walk the Premier League this year. And it sort of does them a solid that Manchester United have been as abysmal as they have been this year, really. Because it just provides that way for, the chairman to say, well, look, it's difficult. It's tough. Even big teams like Man United don't always get it right. Look how much money they spend. It's just not good. It's not good. I think I should do the players now. I think I should do the players and bring this to a close shortly because I've done a lot of very aerated talking. And I always get a bit, after I do ones like this, I wake up with that like I haven't touched a drop. Honestly, I don't really actually even drink that much anymore, to be honest. So it's not like the kind of the anxiety or anything like that. But there's a level of sort of paranoia that comes after this where I'm like, God, you were just sat there shouting at your laptop. Like, for anyone that's seen The Sopranos, the scene when Tony walks up to AJ's room and AJ's there in his pants, like on MSN Messenger, or it might be like, what was it called? ICQ or something like that? What was it called? That old chat thing. But anyway, he's there sort of like laughing along with his mate, and Tony's just like revolted by him. I always feel like I've kind of got that moment where I've got my own sort of Tony Soprano that just peers into the room and just sees me sat here belly aching into a laptop computer talking about the football men on the telly that won't win games because I want them to. You know what I mean? 40-year-old man. And I'm sat here calling 20-somethings pathetic. Dear, oh dear. Dear, oh dear. Oh well. So Giuliano Vicario, 1 out of 10. Pitiful performance. Don't ever give it to the fans again and tell fans what they should or shouldn't be doing and how they should or should not be supporting you when you turn out a performance like that. Concentrate on what you're doing. Stop grabbing the faces of younger players who are far better at football than you are relative to their position, right? Focus on what you're doing, you flappy-armed twat. All right? Archie Gray, I'm not going to give Archie Gray any sort of hassle whatsoever. He's an incredible young player who's been asked to do a miserable job this season, and he's done it to the best of his abilities. He's an incredible star for the future. Nothing bad to say about him whatsoever. Christian Romero, a vastly overrated player, in my opinion. Yes, a very good player, but a vastly overrated one. The way people talk about him is that were we to sell him, the whole team would fall to pieces. He never plays for us anyway. And big Kevin Danso's come in and looked more solid than he does. You know, I've sort of hinted at that. I've sort of, pussyfooted around that point. But that's what I think in my heart of hearts. When I've watched Danso step in, I've sort of thought, you know what? I actually feel more comfortable having him in the defence rather than Christian Romero. I think he's a more solid player. I'm not going to say he's a better player than Christian Romero. I'm going to say I think he's more solid and I prefer him. And it's a shame that he's injured because I thought we looked really good when he was in the side. Ben Davis, it's not the time or the place for me to be defending Ben Davis. Not particularly good performance today. It's just boring, isn't it? Jed Spence, I think it's harsh to call it an own goal. Completely Vicario's fault. Did the best he could today, I thought, Spence. Again, like with Archie Gray, a player that I'm not in any rush to dig out or criticise at all this season. You know, keep him happy. Pape Matasar, you know, I think he is a prime. It was. I'm not. I'm not going to steal this point. I'm not going to say who made the point just in case they don't want me to say. But somebody who I talked to a fair bit has said one of the sort of the key markers of Ange Postecoglou's poor management is the decline of Pape Matar under his tutelage, and I think that's a fair point. Maybe yes. I can hear for the detractors at the back. It takes away from the players' own individual responsibility to ensure that they continue to work hard and improve and impress and all that type of thing. Yep, that's fine. That's maybe a point. But at the same time, he's an incredible young player. There's an incredible base there, foundation for a good manager to get their hands on and turn into a truly remarkable player, I feel. And he's failed to do that. Yves Bissouma, I couldn't have told you a single positive or negative thing he brought to the team today, which probably shows you that he didn't really do much, and that's a poor reflection on him. Absolutely fallen to pieces in this regime. I'm pretty sure there's a player there. Am I asked enough to see him stick around and see if he can resurrect his career under the next manager? There's probably every chance that we won't have a say in the matter. I can't see anybody buying Yves Bissouma from us. And I can see him being one of those players that Daniel Levy says to Thomas Frank or somebody, well, he was good at Brighton, see if you can make him good again. Do you know what I mean? I just think I think we're wasting our breath by saying, get Yves Bissouma out the door because I just don't think it's going to happen. So there you go. James Maddison, he played one beautiful pass to Mathis Tell in the first half where it was Harry Kane-esque, where he sort of hit it from deep and it curved long straight into the path of Tell, who was making a kind of arching run towards the box. Beautiful, beautiful pass. And it made me wonder why we don't see more of that from Maddison. Is it being coached out of him? Is it that he doesn't take the risk enough? So it felt like when he did hit it, it was an angry hit as well. Maybe he needs to rediscover that a bit more, get a bit more of that fire back in him. But look, he got taken off again today, as Ange likes to do. Again, he didn't really influence the game, did he? He didn't really take it. It didn't take any sort of form of control over the game whatsoever. And I think that's one of the biggest criticisms, consistent criticisms I'd have of James Maddison, is the fact that he just is never on top of it. He just isn't. And he should be, because I think he has the quality to be incredible for us, and I don't think he is. Again, I think people make a case for it, and people can pick out, oh, look at these progressive passes and stuff. Cool, and I get that that is part of the context, but also he doesn't grab games by the scruff of the neck. He doesn't. And look, I think it's fair to say. I think it's fair to say that the foundation behind him is weak, and it doesn't allow him the platform to really strut his stuff upon. I think that's a fair point, and that's a consideration I will take on board because I do appreciate that I often gun for James Maddison, but when that point has been made to me in the like previously, I've sort of thought, yeah, I mean that probably is fair enough. Brennan Johnson, the Brennan Johnson conundrum continues, basically, doesn't it? Mathis Tell, look, he was in the right place to get on the end of it. Don't think he knew much about the goal, did he? But he was in the right place, so fair play. Decent performance. There we go. Dominic Solanke, he's one of those players that's fallen into that bracket of let's just hope he's good next season, right? And I don't think that's harsh to say, but I don't think he's ever really fully recovered from his layoff this year. Yes, he works hard for the team, but you'd want to see more attacking threat from him. It's like who was it that made the point the other day? I saw somebody make the point on Twitter that it's like now it's like he doesn't expect to ever receive a pass from anybody. So it's almost like he stopped even making himself available in the positions that you'd want a striker to be in. He's almost kind of like, well, it's not going to happen for me anyway, so I'm not going to bother making that run. And I kind of see that a bit. But I like him overall, so fine. Richarlison, yeah, I mean, got a goal, great, fine. Like, do you know what? I'm just sort of bored of the whole Richarlison thing. Like, play or don't or go. Like, you know, just don't care. Lucas Bergvall, a wonderful player, isn't he? We know that he's a wonderful player. Not much more to say than that, other than get off his face, Vicario. Get off his face. Dejan Kulusevski, wonderful to have him back in the mix. He'll probably play some part on Thursday. I know the point has been made by Angel. He's not going to start. He might play on Thursday. I think he'll start on Thursday. I think we'll throw caution to the wind, and I think he will play. I think he'll start the game. We need something like that. Rodrigo Bentancur, disaster class again this afternoon. I thought disgusting performance from him. Like, it was good against Frankfurt the other night, but another despicable performance from him. I just find him such a dislikable character as well. There's nothing about him that I like whatsoever. Happily see us release him on a free contract, like on a free transfer. It's not worth it for the one game in 10 that he looks decent. Just don't like him. Don't like his energy. Not a fan. So yeah, haven't got much more to say other than that about him. I think that'll bring that one to a close there. If you are watching the stream, please drop it a like. Allows other people to see it. I appreciate it very much. There's a lot more watching than there are likes right now. Also share it. If you have enjoyed the stream, stick on the notifications and follow and whatever it is, like and subscribe in it, all that sort of thing. Equally, if you are listening to this in the audio form, thank you very much. Please leave a rating. Please leave a review. I've only just figured out. I've seen people. I've heard other podcasts talking about comments on Spotify, and I'm getting to that stage of like sending eBays from my Google book. Like when Dars used the computer. That I had it passed me by. I had no idea what people were talking about comments on Spotify. And I see that people actually, you can leave like little comments on episodes on Spotify now. So to everybody that has been doing that, thank you very much. I was just catching up with it the other day. A lot of people calling me a melt. But whatever. No review's a bad review. But yeah, leave a rating, leave a review. If you want to support the show, you can by signing up for Patreon. Sign up for the supporter tier on Patreon, or you can join the Inner Sanctum to get extra podcasts and all that sort of thing. Patreon.com/RTRpod. Helps me keep the lights on and food in my belly. So there you go. But yeah, onward to Thursday. Are we hopeful? No, but here we go anyway. Come on, you Spurs. Up the Spurs. Ange out. Get him out. Get him out now. Go, go, go. Get out.